I don't think protests will ever do anything to solve the issue of femicide. And I feel there's a lot of ego satisfying, personal ego, like we did something, we got out, we said their names, we did all this, and then so what? I don't blame people who say that girls need to protect themselves. Why were they in that hotel room? Don't tell me about protests. And don't tell me not to tell my girls to not walk with strangers into a hotel room. I will tell them. I will not put myself in the line to be a martyr. I have to protect myself. But until we are serious about this discussion, I refuse to be a part of those knee-jerk reactions. What's up, you guys? Femicide. So it's been on my mind. I have not said anything about it. It's not because of anything. It's just I don't want to say anything about it. But I feel like I want to just put in my 2 cents here for just for it to stick here. And I'll keep on reminding myself, maybe to prove myself right or to prove myself wrong. I don't think protests will ever do anything to solve the issue of femicide. I think it's nice to get out and to begin like having those walks and feeling like you're doing something and feeling like you're part of like the solution. But like I don't think they will ever amount to much. I have been in this space for years. Femicide to me is not news. It's something that happens every single day. It's something that happens in our homes. It's something that like just always happens. And it's sad. It's sad that like one gender would be exposed to such brutality. And although the other gender also does suffer from episodes of brutality and violence, we have to first agree that the majority of the victims or survivors are women. Part of that is socialization. Part of that is just the fact that people don't care. And it doesn't matter how much we protest. It doesn't matter how much we wear t-shirts and run around and say enough is enough. I get that protests have helped in certain places, but I want to be able to bring your attention to what is the contributing factors. I think right now people don't have the ability to have a very sober discourse on what are some of the contributing factors to where we are at right now. And quite frankly, I cannot have a discussion that doesn't have solutions attached to it. Like I would go to the streets and protest, and then what? After those protests, what? I think part of what we need to do is to be able to approach this issue from an angle of solutions rather than what would satisfy our ego at the time. And I feel there's a lot of ego satisfying, personal ego, like we did something, we got out, we said their names, we did all this, and then so what? Because there's no justice for for these people who are killed, and there is no solutions in place. And that's what pisses me off, because it's a tagline. People are now up in arms and they are protesting and they are making it such a big deal, and then they are going back to their homes and forgetting about those names they said they would never forget. This is not the first time that we are facing femicide. If we are really sort of like thinking about prevention and thinking about what we can do for posterity, then I don't think protests is the solution. I think we have to have an open mind in this discussion and discuss certain things that have led us to this point. And the first thing that has led us to this point is quite frankly very simple. It's the fact that there's a different yardstick for men and for women. We are raised differently. Our issues are being reacted to differently. Like when a boy does something, like impregnates your girl, then it's not a big deal. The parents don't think it's a big deal. It's only a big deal when a girl is pregnant. And the fact is, girls don't get pregnant by themselves. There's someone behind that pregnancy. Why do we have women face consequences for their actions and men go scot-free? Why do we raise our boys very differently from the way we raise our girls? Why is it that my boys can come in and walk into the house anytime they want and my girls have a curfew? How is it that I cannot say no to my boys and I say no to girls every single time? The reason why we are here is our men do not have the capacity to accept that no is actually an answer. And because of that, women have been raised to protect themselves. And that's why I don't blame people who say that girls need to protect themselves. Why were they in that hotel room? I don't blame them. It's wrong. But I don't blame them because that is how we have been socialized. We have been socialized that women need to take care of themselves, and then men have zero consequences for their actions. Like, you will tempt the man, don't wear a short dress. You will do this to the man, don't do this. And those are the simple things that we keep on doing and we keep on perpetuating as women, and then we are shocked that your child would take a hammer, would take a machete and kill someone for actually saying no. And so I'm tired of the knee-jerk reactions. I am tired until we have a conversation, a real conversation, and a mental shift that begins from how we raise children, how we socialize our boys and girls, and how different it is, and how we choose to live as a society. The gatekeepers of patriarchy, who are mostly ladies, by the way, and how you defend men, how you defend your husbands, how you allow your husbands to defile your children and then you shut up about it, and you even co-sign abusing your own children because you're protecting men. Until we are ready to have those conversations, I'm not joining any protests, by the way. I don't see what they will do. We have protests in the past. We have done all that. They've never amounted to anything. So let's open up this discussion and let's begin to give a society to our children that is very different from the society that we are in right now, from what we inherited from our mothers, the culture of silence, the culture of kababa, and just making boys seem like they are small gods, and raising brats who have they cannot conceptualize the fact that they are told no to anything. It's how your children run around and they are not checked. It's how they just are allowed to say anything, to do anything with zero accountability. And then you're shocked that your child, who's never had you say no to him, is butchering someone. Like, why are we shocked? And so I'm not joining any protests. It does not make sense to me. I feel that we need to have a conversation. And these conversations need to be conversations that are had with an open mind. So don't blame people who say that what's your child doing in an Airbnb with a stranger. Yet we have raised women to always check their backs. You tell your girls not to wear short dresses because they'll trigger men. like we are raising men and boys to be these brainless humans who do not have the ability to say yes or no to anything. Like them, they have to be protected. They have to be protected even from themselves. And then we are shocked that they would kill people because they've said no to their advances. Why are we shocked? Why are we pretending shocked? And so until we get to a point that we are willing to have these conversations behind closed doors with our boys, we are willing to raise our boys and men differently. We are willing to be able to ensure that accountability goes both ways. It can't be that I'm pregnant and I have to bear the consequences of being pregnant, yet there is a woman somewhere who is celebrating the fact that mtoto wake bado yeye anaenda shule. Like, there is zero accountability. I can't be checking my girls more than I'm checking my boys. If everyone has a curfew, everyone has a curfew. If everyone is mopping the house, is cleaning, is cooking, everyone does it. Those are life skills. And so we raise girls to be responsible, we raise men to be brats, and then we are shocked. And so I refuse to be a part of that. I call it nonsense. I have been across many women who have been violated by men. I refuse to be a part of that thing that people are doing. The society that we live in is so, I don't know how to call it, like it's so broken that I know that even there's a woman who is getting killed right now, and no amount of protest will make a man not to kill a woman if they want to kill a woman. Like, who do you guys think you are? Like, the fact that you've protested in the streets now, if I wanted to go kill someone, I would stop because you protested? Have you heard any leader speak about those, anything, comment? They won't. Because we have been socialized that way, and until we get to a point that we realize that the way we raise children is broken, the way we live in our homes is broken, the way we treat men vis-a-vis girls is broken. Everything about the system is broken. And so I see women raise brats every single day and then walk into the streets and protest. Like, you are raising the future murderer and you're in the streets protesting. Boys who cannot be told no. They don't have the ability to conceptualize the fact that someone would tell them no. And then you're busy protesting, and the problem is in your house. Boys who are killing their mothers and putting in bathtubs. And then you want to tell me that, like, because we've protested, then everything else goes. It does not work like that. And so it's high time we began to have an open discussion. Not of those cancel culture that if you're told prevent it, like you're being cancelled. Like, if you're told, if someone is told, like, it's a stranger, do not go with a stranger to a hotel room, then you're cancelled. You're cancelled for what? I was taught that when I was growing up. And the reason why we were taught that is that there is zero accountability. Once you're dead, you're dead. And so it doesn't matter how much rights you have. Like, a dead man has no rights. And until we get to a point that we can have that open discussion about this thing, shut up. There is nothing we are adding. There is no value we are adding. And no amount of carrying placards and dancing in the streets will sort this thing. And so when someone says that you need to be careful as a woman, that statement is deeply flawed. I should not have to be careful. I am just as human as any other man. But if that is the advice you want to tell women, in a society that you have created that is deeply insecure for women, it's actually even really difficult to go through some streets as a woman. And then you're telling people, dress how you want, do whatever you want, walk wherever you want. What are you trying to say? until this discussion gets to a point that we keep our spaces safe for girls. Don't tell me not to be careful. I will be careful. I'll teach my children to be careful. The reason why I have to do that is the society has failed my child. And so a society that has already failed my child, you're coming to tell me not to be careful? What are you trying to tell me? Until you keep the streets safe, I will protect my children. And it's not only girls. And so I think the discussions we are having are very progressive, not just in the society that we are in. Not in a society where there is so much entitlement that someone feels just because you've told him no, he can kill you. And then you're telling me in that same society to allow my child to do whatever she wants? She can't. And it's an injustice that she can't. But it is what it is. And until we are able to face the mirror and tell ourselves the truth, we are lying to ourselves. We are lying to ourselves. I will keep on telling my children to be careful. It's a cruel world. Does it have to be a cruel world? No. But this is years of injustice that we cannot go to the streets and cure because you've carried placards and said the names of girls. So it's disingenuous to begin to tell girls to just do whatever they want. They cannot. Because our society has created systems that do not allow girls to be able to do whatever they want. The statistics are out there. Girls are still being raped much more than boys are. And so I have to be careful. My children have to be careful. And that's the truth. So discussions have to center around why. Why should I be careful? Why can't I just walk freely like anyone else? And what are the solutions? But for the time being, don't tell me about protests. Those things mean nothing. As you protest, there's a woman who is being killed. And just because you're seeing them in news, some of us see them real time. Some of us see them real time. We've seen murders that are unreported. Just because there is someone who's been reported doesn't mean there are some ones that are not reported. There are so many girls that are getting killed on a daily basis. Don't tell girls not to be careful. They have to be careful. And the moment that you start telling us to not be careful, you have to also put measures in place to ensure we are safe. The catcalling that women have to go through in the streets, the catcalling. I have been in a very public place and I had to slap someone because I was punked in a bus station full of people. Do men go through the same thing? No. But you have to constantly protect yourself. I walk with a pepper spray when I'm in Nairobi. I don't have to, but I have to. Because a dead man has no rights. I will not put myself in the line to be a martyr. I have to protect myself. I have to ensure that I talk to my girls to protect themselves. It's unfair, but that is it. So until we are open to have honest discussions about how our society looks very different from the eyes of a man and from the eyes of a woman, don't tell me about protests. And don't tell me not to tell my girls to not walk with strangers into a hotel room. I will tell them. They can choose to obey it or not. That's their choice. And when they get killed in a hotel room because they walked in with a man, that's an injustice. But she's dead. And we have to choose our struggle until we get to a point where policymakers pay attention. If you're keen, they're not paying attention. They know the noise will die down and the celebs are out. The thing is, they only see what they see on the screens. For us, we see it on a daily basis, and it makes me angry that we pay attention to only what is reported by the media. There's so many things that are not reported. There's so many things that need to be reported. But then, are our policymakers even serious about the fight against gender-based violence? They are not. According to the Prevention Against Domestic Violence Act, we need to have a safe house per county. There are no safe houses. Civil societies have been left with the role of protecting girls. It is not our role to protect girls. We pay taxes in this country. Women pay taxes. And so when systems are broken and they're not working for us, like police are actually raping children, defiling children and raping women, and then you want to tell me that that state, I need to give it the responsibility of protecting me? No. So women are not taken seriously in this country. We are a huge demographic, but we are not taken seriously. And the reason why is we are gatekeepers of patriarchy every single day. You find women fighting with other women over men. You can't face your husband because patriarchy has taught you that your husband is right. But you fight another woman. And so we are divided and we cannot win. We will protest every single day, but we will never win because we are divided. We don't even understand like the simple issues, like I need to be safe. You find women are split on that. When someone is dead, obviously like someone has been killed, you find women saying she deserved to be killed. What was she doing with a stranger? And that's women. And so you have to protect yourself. At the end of the day, your security is your own responsibility. It doesn't have to be like that. But until we are serious about this discussion, I refuse to be a part of those knee-jerk reactions that you guys wake up because you've not sat across many women. You've not cried with them. And you've not seen people being buried very, very unnecessarily. So you can protest, but at the end of the day, femicide is here with us because society is yet to decide that women's rights are important. And until then, I'm not being a part of any protest. And so I will wait for emotions to go down so that we have serious discussions. But for now, I know this video in itself will anger so many people. I don't care. So you can choose to do whatever you want. I choose not to protest. And I choose to just quietly mourn with the many people, many families that are hurting and crying, and hope that a solution will one day come to pass, even if it's not in my generation. It doesn't look like it will be in my generation, but we have a responsibility to allow the next generation inherit a better world. Solutions only come when people have discussions and talk openly about the things that ail us. So until then, I don't have anything else to add. Bye guys.